Here at OpenCulture.com is a story entitled Nikola Tesla's Predictions of the 21st Century, the Rise of Smartphones and Wireless, the Demise of Coffee, and more. God forbid the demise of coffee. Written by Smithsonian/Paleofuture. And the anonymous author begins. In the lengthy Liberty essay, as told to George Sylvester Viereck, a poet and schmaltzy sympathizer who also interviewed Schmittler, Tesla himself makes the pronouncement, quote, "It seems that I have always been ahead of my time," end quote. He then goes on to enumerate some of the ways he has been proven right, and confidently lists the characteristics of the future as he sees it. No one likes a know-it-all, but Tesla refused to compromise or ingratiate himself, although he suffered for it professionally. And he was in many cases right. Many of his predictions in 1935 in that edition of Liberty are still too far off to measure, and some of them will seem outlandish or criminal to us today, but some still seem plausible, and a few advisable if we are to make it another 100 years as a species. Tesla's predictions include the following, which he introduces with the disclaimer that forecasting is perilous. No man can look very far into the future. Check all these out. Bullet points. Buddhism and Christianity will be the religion of the human race in the 21st century. The year 2100 will see eugenics universally established. Tesla went on to comment, "No one who is not a desirable parent should be permitted to produce progeny. A century from now, it will no more occur to a normal person to mate with a person unfit than to marry a habitual criminal. Hygiene, physical culture will be recognized branches of education and government. The Secretary of Hygiene or Physical Culture will be far more important in the cabinet of the President of the U.S., who holds office in the year 2025, than that of the Secretary of War." Along with personal hygiene, Tesla included pollution as a social ill in need of regulation. A quote from Tesla, "I am convinced that within a century, coffee, tea, and tobacco will no longer be in vogue. Alcohol, however, will still be used. It is not a stimulant, but a veritable elixir of life." There's mixed opinions on that, however. There will be enough wheat and wheat products to feed the entire world, including the teeming millions of China and India, now teeming billions. Tesla did not foresee the anti-gluten mania of the 21st century. Long before the next century dawns, systematic reforestation and the scientific management of natural resources will have made an end of all devastating droughts, forest fires, and floods. The universal utilization of water power and its long-distance transmission will supply every household with cheap power. End quote. Along with this optimistic prediction, Tesla foresaw that the struggle for existence would be lessened, and there would be development along ideal rather than material lines. Tesla goes on to predict the elimination of war by making every nation, weak or strong, able to defend itself, after which war chests would be diverted to funding education and research. He then describes, in rather fantastical-sounding terms, an apparatus that projects particles and transmits energy, enabling not only a revolution in defense technology, but undreamed-of results in television. Tesla diagnoses his time as one in which we suffer from the derangement of our civilization, because we have not yet completely adjusted ourselves to the machine age. The solution, he asserts, along with most futurists then and now, does not lie in destroying, but in mastering the machine. As an example of such mastery, Tesla describes the future of automatons taking over human labor and the creation of a thinking machine. Matt Novak at the Smithsonian Institute has analyzed many of Tesla's claims, interpreting his predictions about hygiene and physical culture as a foreshadowing of the EPA, and discussing Tesla's work in robotics. Today, proclaimed Tesla, the robot is an accepted fact. The article in Liberty was not the first time Tesla had made large-scale public predictions about the centuries to come and beyond. In 1926, Tesla gave an interview to Collier's in which he more or less accurately foresaw smartphones and wireless telephony and computing. And here's a quote from that article from Collier's magazine. When wireless is perfectly applied to the whole Earth, the Earth will be converted into a huge brain, which in fact it is. We shall be able to communicate with one another instantly, irrespective of distance. Not only this, but through television and telephony, we shall see and hear one another as perfectly as though we were face to face. And the instruments through which we shall be able to do this will be amazingly simple compared with our present telephone. A man will be able to carry one in his vest pocket. End quote. Tesla also made some odd predictions about passenger flying machines without fuel, free from any limitation of present airplanes or dirigibles, and spouted more of the scary stuff about eugenics that had come to obsess him in late life. Additionally, Tesla saw changing gender relations as a precursor of a coming matriarchy. This was not a development he characterized in positive terms, or completely positive terms, I would say. While he fully granted that women could and would match and surpass men in every field, he warned it would harm their feminine sensibilities and maternal instincts. But I think they can walk and chew gum at the same time. The author continues, "It seems to me that a bee civilization would appeal to eugenicists. Except I suppose Tesla feared becoming a drone, although he saw development as inevitable. He still sounds to the author like any number of current politicians who argue that society should continue to suppress and discriminate against women for their own good. Tesla may be an outsider hero for geek culture everywhere, but his social attitudes give the author the creeps." While the author has personally always liked the vision of a world in which robots do most of the work, and we spend most of our money on education, when it comes to the elimination of war, the author is less sanguine about particle rays and more sympathetic to the words of Ivor Cutler, of which he does not give an example. Okay.